everyone, Razorblade Mango here, and today I'm just gonna do a very quick, hot off the presses style video where I just wanted to talk a little bit about this whole Callisto protocol situation and how extremely disappointed I am in just how this whole thing turned out. Now, I will say right off the bat that I have not played Callisto Protocol. I was originally going to get it, originally going to pre-order it, but my gut instinct told me to hold off once I found out that the review embargo lifted literally the moment the game went live at 9 p.m. last Thursday. And turns out my gut was absolutely right, because that is never a good sign. If this is your first rodeo with this kind of thing, let this be an important lesson to anyone out there. If a game's review embargo lifts the moment it releases, that is a huge red flag warning. That if the review embargo lifts the moment it releases or a day after it releases, that's a big red flag. That is a very cautiously approach kind of situation, and I'm so glad I didn't spend $70 on this. I'm so glad I didn't use the rest of my Steam money, especially with that PC version. And I just want to express how thoroughly annoyed I am at Striking Distance Studio and maybe even Krafton. I think in this case, I think it might be more fair to put the spotlight on Krafton because they're the publisher. And very rarely do the developers, unless they're the publishers, have any say as to when a game's review embargo lifts. And this was very obviously a case of Krafton looking at what they had and thinking, oh shit, we cannot warn people in advance of how shoddy, especially the PC version, how shoddy the state of it is. I'm not even necessarily talking about the subjective quality of the game itself. And even then, I think they more than likely did mock review tests, and maybe the reviews were not very kind to it. And they thought, oh shit, we can't have this coming out and scoring like 5 and 6 and talking about how disappointed people are in it, but like a couple days before the game comes out. That won't fly. So rather than being honest, they resorted to typical deceptive publisher business practices, locked anyone from reviewing the game until the game actually came out, until people, got the pre-order, they spent $70 on that pre-order, and then they got the game. And then all of a sudden, they read a review that says, oh, it's broken on PC. It stutters like crazy. It's just not a very good game overall. Now, Striking Distance and Krafton have set this tenor with themselves where I can no longer trust what they are putting in front of me. Because if I look back on it, I myself, I will admit that I maybe should have seen some of the more, pieced together some of the more yellow flag signs even before it came out that the review embargo lifted the minute the game came out. This was a first-time studio from a publisher that we really don't have much like a good idea of how they operate as far as a big AAA game like this. They had to have Sony come in and lend out, I think, about 150 of their workers to help get the game across the finish line on PlayStation. PlayStation had marketing rights to this, and they were putting it in their state of play and all that. And just the fact that it was a first-time studio doing something like this, and it looked really great as far as visually for a first-time studio under a publisher we really don't know all that much about. So I think I should have been more cautious about that. And thankfully I listened to my gut when it was announced that the review embargo lifted the minute the game came out. It was like, hey, hold off. as tempting as it is, you know, as much as you want to throw your dice on the table and see if you score big time, just wait. It's not going to kill you to wait. And thankfully, I listened to my gut, and I absolutely just crushed that this game turned out to not be anywhere near what I had hoped it would be. Again, granted, I haven't played it, but at this point, I really don't want to. I really don't want to support Krafton or Striking Distance Studio, not after the deceptive practices that they've pulled with this, not after trying to hide how shitty the launch version of the PC port was, with all that awful frame stuttering. And this is, you know, I'm gonna say one of the things I always say: you only get one chance at a first impression, and they absolutely shit the bed with this first impression. And hopefully the thing that I can hope for is that if they get another chance to do it again as far as a sequel, I really hope they take what happened to heart and do better next time. But even then, I'm going to have extreme skepticism towards them. And why not? You know, they've set that precedent for themselves. They really shot themselves in the foot on this. And I can't help but just feel like this is really this is a very fitting end to what has been maybe the worst year for video games I have ever seen since the channel started. I'm extremely disappointed in Krafton. I'm extremely disappointed in Striking Distance Studio. I'm extremely disappointed in I'm actually disappointed in PlayStation for promoting this as much as they did and getting people hyped up, getting like their seal of approval on it. It's like, hey, you know, because PlayStation, you know, for all their faults, and they have many faults this generation, PlayStation tends to actually be pretty good about, you know, keeping their finger on the pulse of games that actually are good. They're really good at getting the third-party deals with games that turn out to be, you know, really good quality. And this is one of the rare times where they just, I don't know what they saw in this. I don't know if Krafton just gave them like a buttload of money or something to help, you know, support their game or something. I don't know what happened there, but man, this just, what a fucking shit show this turned out to be. What a shit show. Shame on you, Krafton. Shame on you, Sony. Shame on you, Striking Distance. Don't ever let this happen again, because now we are fucking watching you like a hawk.